Deciding what weapons to build in Duet Night Abyss might be a little difficult, with its vast roster of weapons ranging from grenade launchers, polearms, katanas, dual pistols, and much more. It might be a little bit difficult. So in today's video, I'm going to be telling you guys what I believe are the best weapons to start investing in early on. I want to make sure you guys understand some of the parameters we've set to pick these weapons. Yes, there might be specific weapons that are best in slot for one or two characters, but that's not what we're doing in this video. I'm going to be telling you the absolute biggest bang for your buck weapons, so you know that if you build or invest in these weapons, you won't be missing out, and you can use these to its full potential on a plethora of characters. Now, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and hop straight into the video. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so here we are in the archive, and the first weapon we're actually going to start off with is going to be the Wayne Wraith. This scythe is an absolute beast of a weapon, and you're going to be able to use this on so many different characters. So many different characters in this game base their entire kit and their entire damage output around skill damage, and when it comes to this weapon, it is an absolute beast. When it's fully upgraded, it's going to offer 48% skill damage. It is a very good melee weapon. So I highly advise, if you're looking to invest on a weapon to give your characters more skill damage, without a shadow of a doubt, this is the weapon you're going to want to go for. I myself, I'm currently working on maxing out this weapon, getting its max smelt, because it's simply just that good. It'll fit on so many characters. Currently, you can use it on like Lady Nifl, you can use it on Lynn, you can use it on Lizbel, you can use it on so many characters, and that's why I think this is our #1 weapon, on top of the fact that you get this weapon for free. You get this weapon when you start off the game, so there's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't invest into this weapon, leveling it up, and later down the line, getting some dupes of this weapon. Now, along with this weapon, we're pretty much going down the line of the same type of thing, and that is going to be none other than Duo. This is pretty much the gun version of the scythe. Once again, offering 48% skill damage. So when you pair these two together, you have a massive skill damage increase to your characters. And once again, you can use these on so many different characters. A lot of people could put these on like Lady Nifl, Lizbel, you can put this on Lynn, and many other characters. So this is a surefire weapon that you can put on any character that needs skill damage. And even though they might have other weapons that are best in slot, you will never go wrong by leveling up these weapons. So I highly advise that if you're looking for skill damage weapons, these are going to be the options for you. Moving on over to our next weapons, we have a very common weapon that all of us have, and that is none other than the Blade Amberglow. Now, this is a very simple weapon to level up and is a very solid stat stick. You get this as soon as you start the game, so you're going to be able to start leveling it up as soon as you start the game. Being able to offer 120% character attack when fully duped out makes this a very solid stat stick, and if you're waiting to get a very specific weapon for another character, this can be a placeholder until then, and you will not regret it. Being able to get this much attack is very good, and once again, the simplicity of having this weapon as soon as you start is going to be quite nice. Moving on from this weapon, we're going to go into its counterpart, Renhusk. Once again, a weapon that is going to offer you a massive 120% character attack boost. You guys are noticing the pattern with the first weapons and now these two, right? We're pretty much going for weapons that are going to work as stat sticks. That way you can just use these weapons on pretty much any character and always get the buff. You're not going to be restricted to a very specific playstyle. With that said, these are going to be very solid. You're going to be able to build them, level them up, and if you want, invest into them, and they're going to work as very solid placeholders. Now let's move on to our next one. Moving on over to our third weapons, this is also going to be a pretty basic pick, and that is going to be none other than Withershade. Now, the reason I'm picking this is once again for its stat stick of 72% skill range when fully duped up. There are plenty of characters out there that are going to benefit from having higher skill range, and this weapon right here is going to be an absolute great pick for them, as it's pretty much offering them all a massive stat stick. I highly advise that if you're building characters that need skill range, this is definitely the weapon that you want to go for. Moving on from there, we're going into our ranged weapons, and then we're going to be able to pick none other than Destructo. Pretty much a grenade launcher that, just like the sword, is going to offer you 72% skill range. You're going to be able to use this on many characters to once again increase that skill range and give you guys the boost to your skills, your damage, your range, whatever it may be depending on the character you're using, and you won't regret it because it's pretty much working off as a stat stick. Let's move on to the next one. Up next, we have another very good category, and that is going to be your skill duration. For that, we're going to be talking about the Pyro Thirst, which is going to offer you 36% skill duration when fully duped up. Once again, a very good stat stick if you need to use weapons that are going to increase the duration of your skills, which a lot of characters are really going to want. This is a very solid pick for you, and you can start building this relatively early on. With that said, moving on over to our other options, this is where it gets not only easier, but also a little bit more interesting. The two weapons we're going to talk about in here are going to be Screenshot and Osteobreaker. You get one of these as soon as you start the game. I'm only going to go into one of these because they're pretty much the same stats, and these are going to give you, once again, 36% skill duration, so they're going to work perfectly as stat sticks for skill duration for your characters. And like I said, not only can you get these relatively early on, you can get dupes, at least one of them, relatively early on in the game, depending on the weapon you chose. Overall, they're very, very good for skill duration and very easy to get. You can start leveling them as soon as you get them, and you won't have nothing to worry about. Now, the last two weapons I want to talk about are very niche weapons. These are weapons that you're going to use for specific scenarios, but at the same time, you can also use them on many different characters. So despite the fact that they serve a very specific purpose or they do very specific things, you're going to be able to use them on pretty much anybody, right? The first weapon I want to talk about is going to be Remnant Reminiscence, and this weapon is going to be very good. It's going to increase your attack range, and upon landing a crit, it has a chance to restore sanity. And if you've been playing this game, you guys know damn well how important it is to get that sanity up. So that's a very, very good weapon. You're going to be able to run this not only on your main character if you're having sanity issues, but also on your support units if you want them to always have uptime and always have sanity. So this is a very solid weapon. This is pretty much the MC's weapon, and I do think this is a weapon worth crafting. At least as you're getting through the game, you can slot this on your AI companions and make sure that they're always going to be having a little bit of sanity regen to make their skill cast, their buffs, and supporting abilities a lot easier. The next weapon we're going to talk about is very similar in that regard, and that is Arclight Apocalypsis. And you get this for free as you level through the game. And this is a very, very solid weapon. It's going to offer you skill duration, which is really good, but upon landing a crit with this weapon, it's randomly going to grant your other allies one of the following effects for 16 seconds. Attack percentage boost, defense percentage boost, skill damage boost, or skill duration. One of these effects is going to go on your characters. This is a very good weapon. If you got it, absolutely level it up. You will not regret investing into it. You will not regret, leveling it up and all that good stuff. And overall, I think this is a weapon that pretty much everybody should have and everybody should be rocking on their support units, because of how much utility it's actually going to bring. Now guys, before the video ends, I want to clarify that the reason I made this list is to make sure that people that are getting into the game have an understanding of what weapons are good when it comes to starting to invest on them. A lot of people have no idea, and that's why I made this video. Now, with that said though, I do want to tell you there are a lot of weapons that I didn't bring up in this video because they're very specific weapons to very specific playstyles or very specific characters. There are amazing weapons out there. The Embla in Florence is an absolute beast for a character like Lady Nifl. The Entropic Singularity is great for Lady Nifl as well. The Silent Sour has been a very interesting weapon that people have been dealing with now in later games for Stagger. We have the Blue Current Pulse, which is a very solid weapon to rock with Lyn. You have the Gyutsu Ratchet, which is a very interesting weapon when it comes to building combo meter. And it goes on and on when it comes to a lot of these weapons. But I wanted to make sure to bring a list of surefire weapons that you can actually build in the game and you won't regret putting resources into them for leveling them up or whatever it may be, and you can slot into a plethora of characters. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think of the video in the comment section below. Thank you all for watching. Hit that like button and subscribe and join our Discord. For now, I'll see you guys on the next one, and peace.